Welcome to the realm of intoxicating flavors and head-banging beer reviews.
Welcome to another episode of the Rare Beer Club. I'm your host, the Ginger Yeti, and if you're new to the channel, the Rare Beer Club is a subscription club put out by the beerofthemonthclub.com. I receive a box of, used to be bottles, but now apparently sometimes cans, every month that can contain, like I said, 2 hand-selected beers for about 60 bucks. I unbox the beers and select one at random to review, then review the second one in another video. I already reviewed the first beer that came out of this box. This is the other beer, and if you saw my opening, unboxing, and review, I was shocked to see that there was a can. It sounded like cans when I moved the box around. I was shocked to see there was cans in it. And before I get into the beer, it always comes with this paperwork. There's a little note about that I feel like I need to read. So after many years with lots of deliberation, the Rare Beer Club will finally introduce 16-ounce cans to some of the monthly shipments sent throughout the year. Starting with the October 2024 selections, this decision was brought by the ever-increasing offerings from great beer in 16-ounce cans and the ever-decreasing offerings in 750 milliliter bottles, which I've noticed that over the years. All the bomber bottles, the 750 milliliter bottles, they've pretty much disappeared from the shelves. About the only time I ever see them is with the Rare Beer Club. We see this as a great opportunity rather than a problem, as it opens a possibility for offering beer from breweries that we would not have considered before. It also allows breweries that we've featured before to continue to supply outstanding beers that they're now offering in 16-ounce cans only. So that's interesting. I mean, you see the trends of bottles going on the wayside and cans, and they're finally going to get with the program and start doing cans. And it was cool they actually put 2 of these cans into the box instead of in exchange for a bottle, I guess I should say, because normally you get a 750 ml bottle. They put 2 of these cans, and these are 1 pint. So what's that, like 400 some milliliters? I'll put it up there. There's something else I want to mention too, because this is from the October 2024 box. And a little before then is when that major hurricane came through and wiped out the southeast Asheville area, North Carolina area, really destroyed and hurt a lot of breweries. So they say here in this note, which again is a year old, to launch this new packaging format, we originally partnered with a longtime favorite brewery amongst Rare Beer customers, Highwire Brewing Company in Asheville, North Carolina. Sadly, due to the widespread flooding caused by Hurricane Helene, we were not able to launch our new packaging format with Highwire. And I just saw recently that Highwire has to close down one of their production facilities in, I think it's Louisville, or that general area. So if you see Highwire beers, go buy them, help support those guys. They're really struggling right now, as are all craft breweries apparently. But let's get on to the beer. So this, I'm going to mispronounce a bunch of words, obviously, because I'm a dumb American. This is Dois. I don't know. Apparently, Ni is Japanese. Dois is Brazilian. It's from Japas Cervejaria Artesanal. And I thought I recognized that name when I opened the box. I actually reviewed one of their beers before. I picked up at some beer store while traveling around the country. I reviewed the Matsurica. And if I remember, I'll post that down in the description so you go check out that. But this is an Imperial Stout with Vanilla and Tangerine. It's 10.7%. And let me tell you a little bit about the brewery, because this is an interesting brewery before we actually get into the beer here. So the brewery, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, Japas Cervejaria Artesanal, is a unique union of 4 Brazilian Sansei, which means third-generation Japanese who were born in a new country of residence. The rise of Japas Cervejaria, a brewery founded by this talented group of women in Brazil, is a testament to both their brewing expertise and their passion for showcasing Japanese culture throughout craft beer. Since launching their first beer, Wasabiru, an American pale ale infused with wasabi, I would love to try that. That sounds delicious. In 2014, they have continued to craft beers that blend Japanese ingredients with traditional brewing techniques. Their innovative approach has introduced unique flavors to the Brazilian craft beer scene, such as yuzu, matcha, and sake yeast. making their beers both exotic and approachable. What sets Japas apart is their dedication to using Japanese elements as inspiration for their brewing, which not only adds complexity to their beers, but also celebrates their heritage. As pioneers in both representing women and Japanese culture in the craft beer world, they are carving a distinct path and gaining widespread recognition in the ever-changing global beer industry. So in North America, they have teamed up with the Electric Against the Grain Brewery in Louisville, Kentucky, to brew small batches of their different offerings with distribution, so far limited to a handful of major U.S. markets. So the paperwork says Louisville, Kentucky, but the brewery's out of Sao Paulo, Brazil. And that's why it's Sao Paulo, Brazil, but it says Louisville, Kentucky. Because I guess this one is specifically brewed at Against the Grain for this brewery. The words ni and dos or dois mean two in Japanese and Portuguese, respectively. I don't speak either of those languages, so I'm sure I butchered both those words. And the beer is the second in a series representing the fusion between Japanese and Brazilian cultures through the medium of craft beer. This Russian Imperial Stout brings together the best of both worlds with a unique blend of ingredients: Brazilian Cerrado vanilla and Japanese Ponkan tangerine. The beer is a tribute to the long history of Japanese immigration to Brazil, blending flavors that reflect both traditions. So, let's get into the look at the can before we start talking about the pour and opening it up. Here's the can, kind of bland, but looks like it's got some vanilla and some sort of tangerine and something else on it. Kind of bland looking can. And on the can, there's writing in different places. Some of it's in Japanese, some of it's, I think, in Portuguese. 10.7% alcohol. Russian Imperial Stout with tangerine and vanilla. Kimura Matsuoka Shimada Ueno. Sure, I butchered all of that. Product of the USA. Japanese, Brazilian woman brewers. And that's everything on the can. Before I forget, on Untapped, this gets a 3.85 with 680 check-ins. Beer Advocate got an 83 good. And the suggested glassware is Tulip Globe Snifter, Chalice, or Small Nonic. I've got this, I think this is a Globe Snifter. Got this snifter kind of beer glass. Couldn't think of the word for glass. Huh. So, the Japanese ni dos pours, the Japas ni dos pours deep black with a thick tan-colored head. The head has good retention, leaving behind an intricate church window-like lacing on the glass. Its opacity is almost impenetrable, reflecting the richness of a classic Russian Imperial Stout. Let's pour it in a glass and see if that matches the description. And again, this is at least a year old. There is some aging notes. If I remember right, I'll tell you about those later. But that is definitely a deep dark black. I can already smell some vanilla. Where was I? The aroma is intense and layered. Up front, there's a strong presence of roasted malt, dark chocolate and espresso with a hint of char. I smell chocolate and vanilla. The Brazilian Cerrado vanilla adds a rich, sweet aroma with hints of caramel and cream. Chocolate and vanilla. The Ponkan tangerine introduces a subtle, zesty citrus undertone, giving the stout an intriguing contrast of bright and dark aromas. There's also a touch of molasses and dried fruit, adding complexity. Chocolate and vanilla. Now we get on to the first sip. The first sip is dominated by bold roasted malt with flavors of dark chocolate, coffee, and a touch of smoke. Dark bitter chocolate for sure. This powerful bitterness is quickly softened by the smooth, creamy sweetness of the Brazilian vanilla. There is a creaminess to it for sure, which brings a custard-like quality and rounds out the roasted. I don't know about custard-like quality. There is some char and smokiness there for sure. It kind of builds. Serving temperature is 49 to 56. I'm at 58 degrees Fahrenheit, so I should be all right. What else does it say? As the stout develops on the palate, the pecan tangerine becomes more prominent, adding a bright citrus burst that cuts through the richness. Oddly enough, I don't taste it in the beer itself. But after the fact, after the swallow, I'm getting some bright, sweet, fruity kind of citrus notes on it, which is very interesting. The tangerine provides a unique contrast, offering notes of sweet, juicy orange and slightly floral quality that works surprisingly well with this vanilla and dark malts. Balance between bitter roast and bright, sweet citrus creates a dynamic interplay of flavors that reminds us of a favorite beer we've featured in the past, the Blue Mountain Isabel Imperial Porter. I don't remember that one. Don't know that one. This is quite good. It's a very complex beer. Rich dark chocolates, some char, a little bit of smokiness, even a full bodied, it's creaminess. And after the finish, you get this like bright tangerine citrusy flavor. The finish of Japas Dois is long and warming. I don't get any warming at all. With a lingering combination of dark chocolate bitterness, creamy vanilla sweetness, and a faint zest from the tangerine. Definitely get that faint zest from the tangerine. The alcohol warmth of 10.7 is present but well integrated. I disagree. There was no alcohol warmth in this whatsoever. 10.7%. No alcohol in this whatsoever. Full-bodied and velvety, the stout has luxurious texture, which isn't cloying. Yeah, I agree. So like I said, there's a little bit of aging and pairing notes here. And it says I recommend drinking it fresh to take advantage of the bright tangerine flavors, which I screwed up. It's over a year old. So maybe the tangerine is more present, more prominent if you got this fresh. However, this is still magnificent. And we also suggest buying it up to mature a year or two. During that time, the tangerine should take on a candied character, with the vanilla being more complementary. I agree. I mean, this is outstanding. This is a really well done beer. Very complex, really well done. .7% is hidden extremely well. Dark, bitter chocolate, roastiness, a little bit of smokiness, but not like fill your mouth Rauch beer smokiness. Just a little hint of smokiness in the flavor. Velvety smooth. And then the finish has this like tangerine brightness to it. This is phenomenal. This is an excellent beer. It's a big 2 horns up. I can't believe the 2 beers in that box were both phenomenal, amazing beers. Rare Beer Club knocked it out of the park with that box of beers. I'm sad I waited a year to open that box up, but I'm glad both those beers held up well. This is magnificent. If you can find this beer, buy this beer. If you see any of the Japas Cervejaria artisanal beers on the shelves, pick them up and try them. This is an amazing one. Really well done. If you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate it. I know I go very long-winded on these Rare Beer Club videos, but they're big, complex beers, and there's a lot of information there. So if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. If you did, please hit that like, hit that subscribe. Thank you all for all the support, and as always, embrace the adventure.